Hello everybody and welcome back to another Quilted Cow tutorial. I'm your host for the day, Stacy, and today we are going to be showing you how to make this really beautiful table runner out of the Robert Kaufman Independence Day fabric line. But before we get started on this project, I'd like to give a quick shout out and thank you to our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines and Creative Grids Cutters, Rulers, and Mats. Let's begin. Everybody, now to get started, make sure that you've got your kit with you that is exclusive to our subscription box. This is the that side of the subscription box. So you're going to get your pattern in there with all of the great detailed instructions on how to do one version or two version of this beautiful runner. So to get started, you're going to cut all of your pieces out, which I have already done. And I've already made my flying geese, so I'm just going to go through and tell you what to do to make those. You're going to have your two accent squares that are measured and cut out and ready to go, and you're going to draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of those squares. Then you're going to lay them on one side of your rectangle, and you're going to stitch on that dotted line, and then you're going to trim it 1/4 inch away and press. Then you're going to repeat that for the opposite side of the flying geese, which is this corner here. So to get started, we are going to take our center square that has been cut, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay my pieces exactly how I want them to be. So I've got all of my cute little fabrics from this runner all cut and ready to go. And this is exactly how it's going to get stitched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch these two blue squares to the right sides of my flying geese. So I'm just going to put them right sides together. And I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch down each of these sides. Now we're going to go ahead and press these seams. And when you're pressing these, you want to make sure that you're pressing it away from the flying geese. So your squares are going to be pressed this way and that way, to the left and to the right. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, so once you're done pressing, it's going to look like this on the back side and then that on the front. And you're going to make 2 of those per block. So you're doing 6 of these flying geese star blocks, and I'll go ahead and show you this one finished. It's so beautiful. I love this kit. So you're going to be fussy cutting squares out of this kit, which if you've never done that before, it's super easy and really fun to get these beautiful little images. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch these 2 squares to my other ends of my flying geese to get that prepared. And I'm just going to lay them right sides together. And I don't need to pin or clip or anything. It's not going to move. And then stitch 1/4 inch down and be back. Okay, and the same thing again. We're going to press our squares away to the left and to the right. Just going to lay those out. And now we're going to go ahead and attach our 2 flying geese to our square. So I'm just going to lay those right sides together and make sure that your point is pointing towards that raw edge. You want to make sure that that's facing that way. Otherwise your points to your stars are going to be a little wonky whenever you flip it right sides together. We're just going to stitch 1/4 inch. Now whenever you get to this part, I want to make sure that whenever you're stitching over that point, that you don't actually stitch on the left side of that point, because if you do, you're going to lose the point on the opposite side. So whenever it's right side open, and this is what I mean whenever I say don't stitch over that point. So we have this point here and this point, and if you stitch over on the left side of it when you open it up, you won't have these beautiful star points showing. You're going to lose those. So make sure that whenever you're stitching that you slow down and you go over it appropriately. And now I'm going to go ahead and press this one in towards the center square, not away from it like we did with the exterior pieces. So now I'm just going to lay these out so that we can see exactly how the block is going to look together. And then we're going to lay them right sides together, nest those seams up, and they nest perfectly. If you're having any issues at all at this situation or in this moment, if these seams don't nest, if you don't feel them nesting together, right now is the time to stop and adjust and check out your 1/4 inch seams. Make sure that they're in the right position and that everything's measuring out right. That way you can fix it now instead of later. Okay, so now we've finished our first star. We're gonna go ahead and press it. And this part, you're gonna press away from the center again. You can press seams open if that's what you would like to do, but whenever you go to quilt your product, you run the risk of ripping your stitches. So it's always better to press seams in one direction. If it gets too bulky, you can press them open if needed. Now I'm going to move all of my pressing stuff aside, and we have all of our beautiful little squares now. And I've made my first set of 3 and attached them to the runner, as you can see here. So there's going to be 6 star blocks in total, and you're going to sew them on top of each other stacked. And then after you do that, you're going to attach them to your panel right sides together, stitching with a 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to attach all 3 of these in that vertical row, and then I will sew them to either side of the panel. So to do that, I'm just going to lay them right sides together and stitch a 1/4 inch down that edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press those seams that we just created down, all the way down, and then we will attach that to the panel. So now we're going to go ahead and attach it to this panel first, just because it's loose and it's easier to do and to start with. So I'm going to just lay it on there right sides together, and then I'm going to stitch that 1/4 inch seam all the way down. Okay, I'm going to press that seam that I just created to the left, and then I'm going to attach the rest of the table runner. And this one, I'm going to just go with the natural lay of it and press it towards the panel. Okay, so now I've got my table runner right side up with my image facing the right way, and I'm going to go ahead and lay out the rest of my panel, and I'm going to lay those right sides together and then stitch them. If this fabric line doesn't get you ready for summer, I don't know what will. I think it's time. It's time to be warm outside. Okay, so now that you've attached that last panel, the next step is going to be pressing again. Now you're at the fun part where you can decide how you're going to quilt it. If you're going to do like what I'm going to do and put insulated batting on the wrong side of it. There's so many different possibilities that you can have with this cute little table runner. It's so festive and so gorgeous. And what's also cool about this is it's only one of 3 projects that you could make out of this kit that you're getting. So you could either do this really beautiful table runner, and there are actually 2 options. I just did the more complicated option to show you how to piece it together, or you could do the bag option. It's up to you. You get to decide. So remember to like and subscribe to our Facebook page. Remember that you can get these kits on our Quilted Cow website, thequiltedcow.com, and don't forget to come and see us again next time. It was great seeing you. Bye.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats. Thanks for watching.